When your baby reaches up, grabs your face, and just holds on, do you know what's actually happening inside their brain? Most parents laugh it off. Some wince because, let's be honest, those little fingers are surprisingly strong. But what your baby is doing in that moment is one of the most complex and emotionally significant things they're capable of. And almost no one talks about it. Here are 7 reasons your baby grabs your face, and each one goes deeper than the last. But here's the thing. If your baby used to grab your face all the time and suddenly stopped, pay close attention, because what that shift means, which we'll get to at the end, is something most parents don't catch until it's already passed them by. 1. It was never about curiosity. When your baby grabs your face, most people think it's just exploration. Babies touch everything, right? Your face is just another object. That's wrong. And here's why. A newborn's vision is blurry. In the first few weeks of life, they can only see about 8 to 12 inches in front of them, just far enough to see you when you're holding them. But even that view is unfocused, soft, incomplete. So how does a baby learn who you are? Through touch. When those tiny fingers press against your cheek, trace your nose, grab your lip, they're not playing. They're mapping. They're building a 3-dimensional model of the most important face in their world. Researchers at Yale found that infants begin recognizing their mother's face within days of birth. But here's the detail most people miss. That recognition isn't just visual, it's tactile. Babies who were allowed more face-to-face touch showed faster facial recognition development than those who weren't. Your baby isn't just looking at you, they're sculpting you in their memory with their hands. Every grab, every press, every awkward finger up your nose is a data point. And over time, those data points become something extraordinary. They become the most detailed, most trusted blueprint their brain will ever hold. The blueprint of the person who keeps them alive.
2. They're claiming ownership of you. This one sounds strange, but it's deeply biological. When your baby grabs your face and pulls you close, they're not just being affectionate. They're performing a scent ritual that goes back millions of years. Babies are born with an incredibly powerful sense of smell. Within hours of birth, a newborn can distinguish their mother's scent from any other person in the room. But smell isn't passive. Babies don't just receive scent, they transfer it. When your baby presses their face against yours, they're blending their chemical signature with yours. It's the same mechanism that bonded family groups in early human tribes. Shared scent meant shared safety. It meant, this person is mine, and I am theirs. Here's the part that should make you stop and think. When your baby grabs your face and holds on, pulling you close enough that your noses almost touch, they're doing something that no amount of feeding, rocking, or singing can replicate. They're chemically fusing your identities together, and they don't even know they're doing it. It's hardwired, it's ancient, and it's one of the most primal declarations of love a human being is capable of making. They can't say the words yet. So they grab your face instead.
3. Your face is their first science experiment. This one is fascinating, and most parents never realize it's happening. Around 4 to 6 months, babies enter a cognitive stage where they begin to understand that objects exist in 3 dimensions. Before this, the world is flat to them. Faces are patterns, shapes with features, but then something clicks. They start reaching out and grabbing things not to play, but to test. Is this real? Is this solid? Does it stay the same when I touch it? Your face is the first thing they test. They squeeze your nose to see if it stays. They pull your lip to see if it snaps back. They press your cheek to see if it changes shape. And every single time, you react. Your face moves. It makes sounds. It changes. And to a baby's developing brain, that feedback loop is absolutely electric. Developmental psychologist Jean Piaget called this the sensory motor stage. But what he didn't emphasize enough is the emotional layer underneath it. Your baby isn't just learning about physics, they're learning that they can affect the world, that their actions matter. And the very first place they learn this is on your face. If this is changing the way you see your baby, hit that subscribe button. It helps us reach more parents who want to understand what's really going on behind those tiny eyes. 4. They're not grabbing your face. They're grabbing your reaction. This is the one that changes everything when you understand it. When your baby grabs your face and you laugh, gasp, make a funny noise, widen your eyes, or say, "Oh, you got me," something fires in their brain that is more powerful than almost any other stimulus they'll experience at this age. Neuroscientists call it serve and return. The baby serves an action, you return a response. And every single time that loop completes, a neural connection is physically built inside their brain. Harvard's Center on the Developing Child calls serve and return interactions the single most important factor in early brain architecture. Not toys, not music, not screen time. Your face reacting to their touch. So here's what this means in plain language. Every time your baby grabs your face and you respond with emotion, with expression, with connection, you are literally constructing their brain, synapse by synapse, one face grab at a time. The babies who get the most serve and return interactions in their first year develop stronger language skills, better emotional regulation, and higher cognitive function, not because of genetics, because someone kept reacting to their tiny hands on their face. 5. Your face is their first dictionary of feelings. Before a baby can understand a single word, they understand expressions. And they don't just learn them by looking, they learn them by touching. When your baby grabs the corners of your mouth while you're smiling, they're not just feeling your face, they're connecting a physical shape to an emotional state. Mouth curved upward equals happy, equals safe, equals good. When they touch your forehead while you're frowning, they register that too. Tight muscles, tension, something to watch. A study published in Developmental Psychology found that babies who had more tactile interaction with caregivers' faces showed significantly earlier development of emotional recognition. By 12 months, these babies could identify happy, sad, and angry expressions with greater accuracy than babies who had less face-touching interaction. In other words, your baby isn't being grabby, they're going to school, and your face is the entire curriculum. 6. They're using you as medicine. Have you ever noticed that when your baby is upset, really upset, one of the first things they do when you pick them up is reach for your face? That's not random. That's regulation. When a baby is overwhelmed, their nervous system goes into overdrive. Stress hormones flood their tiny body. Their heart rate spikes. Their breathing becomes shallow and frantic. They don't have the internal tools to calm themselves down yet. That ability doesn't fully develop for years. So what do? They reach for the one thing that has always brought them back to baseline: your face. The moment their hand makes contact with your skin, something measurable happens. Research on skin-to-skin regulation shows that physical contact with a caregiver triggers oxytocin release in the baby's brain, which directly lowers cortisol levels. Their heart rate slows, their breathing deepens. The storm passes. Your face isn't just familiar to them. It's medicine. It's a reset button wired directly into their nervous system. And when they grab it during distress, they're not being clingy. They're self-medicating with the only drug that works: you. 6. They're using you as medicine. Have you ever noticed that when your baby is upset, really upset, one of the first things they do when you pick them up is reach for your face? That's not random. That's regulation. When a baby is overwhelmed, their nervous system goes into overdrive. Stress hormones flood their tiny body. Their heart rate spikes. Their breathing becomes shallow and frantic. They don't have the internal tools to calm themselves down yet. That ability doesn't fully develop for years. So what do? They reach for the one thing that has always brought them back to baseline: your face. The moment their hand makes contact with your skin, something measurable happens. Research on skin-to-skin regulation shows that physical contact with a caregiver triggers oxytocin release in the baby's brain, which directly lowers cortisol levels. Their heart rate slows, their breathing deepens. The storm passes. Your face isn't just familiar to them. It's medicine. It's a reset button wired directly into their nervous system. And when they grab it during distress, they're not being clingy. They're self-medicating with the only drug that works: you.